Welcome back into the studio, beautiful people. How are you all today? Hope all is well. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome back. Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of TOLTM Conversations. Welcome back to your season of elevation, where we empower ethical professionals and purpose driven people to rise above limitations using what they already know. I'm Dr. Eve Angel Savage, and today we're diving into how to build a sustainable life with the knowledge, understanding, and wisdom you've gained not from the past, but from real experience and divine clarity. Let's talk about structured faith, intentional living, and how you can create a life that reflects your purpose. Let's get into it. Let's check in and make sure that everyone who is here is knows what's available to them. There is a live chat for you today as we are getting into our conversation. So if you have a question about anything that I might be sharing today, please use your chat, ask any questions. At the end of our conversation today, I will check in with you and the questions that you may have. If I have an answer, I'll try. If not, I will search for an answer for you. Okay. Because guess what? We're all on this journey together and we're all learning in different seasons of our life. And that is so very, very vitally important for us to understand that we are all at different places in our lives. We've all had so many experiences. We've all had careers. We all have business back out opportunities, things that have gotten us where we are today. And so we're going to just jump right into some important things to understand before you can build a life of sustainability and well-being. You got to understand what is sustainability, right? Sustainability defined is living in a way that supports your needs consistently spiritually, financially, and emotionally without burning out or compromising your future goals. Wow, is that like something that speaks to me every single day? Because just yesterday, I'm telling you, there are days when I can find myself, I have a high discernment of when I am off track. Because when I get overwhelmed or feelings of burnout, I literally am crippled by it, feeling like ADHD is going on in my life. It's often been said, my children look at me and they're like, Mommy, I can see it. And so I'm often every single day checking in with myself about how I'm feeling. Am I on track? Am I in alignment with my season? Because what I'm not doing, I don't have no fear of missing out on anything at this present point in my life. Because if we don't stay on track, then we lose sight of our future goals. So, sustainability is living in a way that supports your needs consistently, spiritually, financially, and emotionally without burning out or compromising your future goals. Now, let's talk about redefining well being because well being is a state of alignment between your faith, values, relationships, work, and health. It's about thriving, not just surviving. So we are in the business of redefining what that looks like for us, what it looks like for you, and what it looks like for me. So I'm doing this every day as I walk through these different seasons in my life, but there's something that doesn't change. That's my faith, my values, the relationships I choose to build, my work, the things that I have available, my talent, my skills, right? And of course, health has to be a foremost priority for us all. If it's not keeping you healthy, and we know that wealth is health, health is wealth, all the things, then we must make sure that we are in proper alignment. Why do these things matter? When you define what well looks like for you, you can build a life that supports it on every single level, emotionally, practically, and spiritually. All right. So make sure that you are in tune with understanding what this terminology means and how do you conceptualize these things for yourself. If you're just coming on to the broadcast, again, I am Dr. Eve. I am a health and human service educator and qualitative researcher on the journey for sustainable living and redefining well being for me and you. So, some of the things that we must do and to apply what you know, right, is you have to, number one, you have to do an inventory of your life lessons, right? Not my life lessons, but your life lessons. What have you learned through your pain, through perseverance and progress? That's a part of your story, right? And what do you no longer want to repeat? Let me say that again. What is it that you no longer want to repeat? Because I have learned a lot of lessons just by looking back at my family tree experience, ancestral experiences, things of my parents, my dad, their moms, their dads, their siblings, all the things. There are indeed things that I do not wish to repeat, even in my walk, right? Because I have my own experiences, both good, bad, and indifferent, right? So, what do you no longer want to repeat? Number two, turn your insights into income or impact. Impact is critical because at the end of the day, the impact that you had is or want to have is critically important. And if you go back over your life and begin to look at those life lessons, you can find the impact that you had, that could really define and push you into or help you to design, the framework for revenue generating income, right? So examples would be like, could you, from creating a coaching framework, could you host healing conversations that would, be not trauma bonding? Because what we don't want to do is be bonding to trauma. I heard it said from my brother, one of my good friends, he talked about that thing, trauma bonding, and how there are so many people, when we have our support groups and group meetings, we are bonding around trauma. But what we must be doing is bonding around better, right? How are we improving our lives daily? Because even if we have a support, having healing conversations, we should be talking about what's working and what's not working so that we can encourage and support those we are in community with, in support with. Another example is, can you write curriculum from your field of expertise? I do all the time. I am, like I said, a health and human service educator. One of the primary things that I do is hold these support conversations. And they are important because they help people to heal. Oftentimes, people can glean from your experience and how you made it over. So let's think about that in regards to our faith and what God actually instructs us to do and that we are to testify, right? Because we came from some place and out of some things. And if we did, how did we do it? And so we're testifying actually about his goodness and how he healed or how he brought us through, tore down the mountain, ran through the mountain, whatever that was for you, right? So how can you turn that insight into income? Through creating a framework, coaching framework, hosting a healing conversations, or writing curriculum from your field of expertise. Number 3, the power of discernment. Learn to distinguish what's useful now versus what belongs to a past season. This is so critical. I am working through all of these dynamics now because I have a 60-year timeline. As a 62-year-old woman, I am a senior now, and I am walking through all of those seasons to say, what can I take from that season that's fruitful for this season, right? What part of this or what part of that? So we have to always be in reflection and have the power of discernment to distinguish what's useful now versus what belongs to your past season. All right. Number 4, you want a faith-filled living, because we can do nothing without faith. Seek divine direction. Y'all know I'm a believer, and I'm going to share some God with you, okay? So seek divine direction, not trends when you are building your plan. The best partner I ever had in my business or the things that I do is God. I am a kingdom citizen. So I ask, what has God shown me about the life I'm called to build, right? What has he asked me to do in purpose? What has he asked me to do as an occupant of my body? Because I am a reflection of who he is. And because I'm a reflection of him, he gave me a divine assignment at every single phase of my life. And my job is to produce. He is the vineyard, right? He is the vineyard. His son was the heir and the vine. Nobody gets to him, the vineyard, without the vine. These things are attached. And I am a branch of this inheritance, right? I am a branch. I am a branch. I inherited. Woo, God. I inherited all the things. And guess who? Ooh. And as these branches begin to fruit through divine instruction, as they begin to fruit, guess who is the bearer of the fruit? You're the bearer of that fruit. But the fruit is what you want to be, baby, because we got to be fruit inspectors. If the branch is not producing the fruit, then what you got, you have to prune it. So I live a faith-filled life. I seek divine direction, not trends. I make sure I cut out the noise, right? Because everything is so noisy right now, all around us. And it's important that we pay attention to our own gardens. So when you see me gardening, remember that it's real, but it's metaphorical as well as it relates to every aspect of my life. So seek divine direction, not trends, when building your plan. Ask, what has God shown me about the life I'm called to build? All right. So next, we're going to talk about what are some things you might face, because it's very, very critical that we be real with ourselves, right? There are some current barriers. Let's talk about the climate that we're in and how we're going to overcome it, okay? Because every barrier, every problem For every problem, there is a solution. And although these barriers exist, you may be the very solution that God has sent to solve a problem, making you a lucrative part of his plan. All right. So, some of the barriers that we are facing right now is the high cost of living, unstable work conditions, right? With all the people getting laid off and all the rising costs of living and inflation, increased caregiving burdens. Why? Because you're looking and facing an entire population of baby boomers who are aging, and many of millennials are now in these caregiving modes to take care of their parents. You're faced even with mental fatigue or burnout from having to think about it all, figure it out. Even the young people, all of us are in this thing together. But with faith, we can remove these barriers and say, focus. That's why I'm always saying, you may see me say a lot, stay focused. I am talking to me, because the first minister I minister to, the first person I minister to is my spirit man. Stay focused. Do not look to the left or to the right. Stay in your garden, put your peripheral blinders on, and run your race like Sovereignty. Okay, was it Sovereignty? What was the horse name that won the race? Wasn't it Sovereignty? Y'all, please, Sovereignty ran that race. Okay, Sovereignty was awesome. All right, underemployment despite advanced degrees. Many people have advanced degrees, but what we're seeing now with technology, as advanced as it is, which we knew, which I studied at the graduate level and talked about how we integrate technology. Did you not think that if you didn't stay abreast or utilize some of these things, that you would not be marketable? So underemployment despite advanced degrees, right? But we are here to use the degrees in a different way, because we are not traditional, right? We are non-traditional. We are not institutionalized. And so to God be the glory. That doesn't have to be our story, right? Because we can build our own brands, right? But the sooner you start, the better off you're going to be, the quicker you're going to get moving, right? But if you stay stuck thinking that you shouldn't diversify your eyes on one thing. What we talking about here, say it again, diversification. Diversifying your knowledge, your understanding, and your wisdom for sustainable living. So they can't rip the rug up from underneath you at any moment, like they are ripping stuff up for changing people's whole lives. They didn't hear us, okay? So it's still possible because your knowledge is transferable. That's what I'm always telling folks. Transfer your skills, transfer your knowledge into your own signature brand, right? As you can see, Dr. Eve is a whole brand. Let's see. Her assignment in the earth is touch one life, touch millions. So hence the podcast, okay? All right. So planning creates space for stability, even in uncertain times, right? So while it may be uncertain, your planning should never stop. Systems you build around your values can outlast economic trends. People have been known to get rich in recession. Let me say that again. People actually do get rich in recession. I bought a home in recession. All right. So but you have to be strategic. You have to put your money on punishment. You have to know what to do. You have to build your credit. There are things you must do. All right. And we're here to help you with this. How do you mitigate? What are some strategies to mitigate these barriers that are happening in the earth or in the current administration or in society, should I say? Use a flexible home-based economy model. Why? Because it works. Your girl is doing it. So one of the things that I do at the very foundation, because y'all know I'm a foundation builder, because baby, they can take one brick, like they took people jobs from underneath them, and it crash their whole thing. Their homes are being foreclosed on. They're no longer a job. Their insurance, everything is caving around people. It's not funny. It is happening, and it's happening to the people that we know and love, right? So we have to use a flexible home-based economy model through consulting, baby, because you're gonna build that signature, right? You also want to do what? You want to grow food. I'm gonna tell you, there were three epic moments in history when people realized that they needed to get back to the land. One, post Woodstock and Vietnam War. They just wasn't fed up. They were fed up with the government, and they like, we just want a simple life. We just want to do what we need. We gonna grow our own food, right? That was, they just wanted a simple life and less governance, right? Then there was, of course, the politicization of climate. So they wanted climate change. So they wanted more environmentally safe reasons to go green, right? So gardening, and then C-19. We see that as safety. We see the exposure. We see all these things, right? So we're gardening now. Why? Because we realized that the stories they were selling us and the food they were selling us too wasn't good for us, right? So you want to make sure that that's a part of your home-based economy while you're building out your signature brand. Then another thing is digital offerings, technology. While you are building out your economy, when you are looking at your signature brand and what you know and understand and what you can teach, offer it digitally. Why? Because that's where everyone is. They're in front of their phones like this. Okay. Then you want to build micro goals into each quarter. I was sharing this with someone yesterday about how I build out my quarters, how I build out my goals. My goal was to live a sustainable life in this season as a senior citizen, take all of my things with me, what I want, but live with ease, right? I'm retired, but doesn't mean that my business don't stop, because that legacy has to continue. I have a family, right? I have sons and daughters that I have to continue to build this legacy for them, still continue to build out everything. So you have to have strategy. So one of the things is now in this new phase in retirement, because gardening is so healthy for me, right? I can get to eat, I get to build, I get to preserve, I get to stay out of build my own supermarket, I get to healthy food, I get to revise what I look like and age backwards because I'm doing this thing healthy, right? Living off God's land and God's food, all the things that he gave me. You see, and then I have to build out, well, what are the arms to that now? What are the arms to this new thing, this new season? Every season has arms, and you have a new set of goals, but you have micro goals in year 1, year 2, year 3. Then you got it within that year, you got first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, and fourth quarter. So you have to build micro goals into each quarter, or you're going to find yourself somewhere ADHD like me, okay? And you don't want to be ADHD because it's a problem. It's a problem for many of us, and we don't realize that it is a problem, but it happens to a lot of us because the way society has built in and said we have to do things, it's really made us sick, right? And so we have to stomp it. We have to STOMP it so that we can do better, feel better, and live longer, okay? So build micro goals into each quarter. And then another strategy for mitigating these things is to lean into your community and ask for what you need. Resilience doesn't mean doing it alone, which is why the support groups that we have is so critical. Now, if only one person shows up, 2 people show up, 3, listen, all hasn't failed, right? Because you just keep working it, even if it's just look, the assignment is touch one life, touch millions, right? So I understand the assignment. I just have to be consistent about it. All right. So understanding your assignment that's given to you by God is critical. Once you understand what that is and the theme behind your life and your next, because God is always going to ask you, what did I already ask you to do? He gives you no further instructions until you do what he's already asked you to do. All right. Some other things to structure planning for success. This is an important and critical part of your process. Structured planning for success. You want to, number one, build out your 90-day life builder framework. This is something that we do. The second thing I do once I have an assessment with someone is the next step is building out a 90-day framework. Why? Because there's a lot to be done. It's not busyness, it's foundational. 90-day foundational framework to get clarity on what must change. Two, the capacity, what resources, time, people, tools are available to you. Number three, the consistency, what habits will sustain you. Remember, the goal is sustainability. It shouldn't go away. It has to be rock solid. When it's rock solid in your foundation, no one can take it from you. One of the greatest lessons my father gave to me was, baby, get your knowledge, because knowledge is power. And once you get it, no one can take it away from you. They can do a lot of things, but they cannot take your knowledge from you. And I have lived by that thing each and every day, which is why I do the work that I do today. The second part of your structured planning for success is reframe the role of work. Work should support your calling, not sabotage your health. Again, I'm going to go back to my earlier conversation and a conversation I had with a very good friend today. If it feels like work, too much like work, if it feels heavy, and I can't get anything done, I get really confused. And I have to really just listen to my body, both physically and mentally, because if work should support your calling, not sabotage your health. So listen to your body, listen to what's happening. And health is physical, mental, spiritual, financial, and emotional. So you want to make sure that you are reflecting. Let your calendar reflect your values. You're not supposed to be out here doing everything. Your calendar should include the values that you have and where you need to be and when and how much of this you should be doing. And like I tell everyone, a healthy signature, a healthy brand is going to have, if it's not written, it's not on my schedule. If it's not on my schedule, then it's not in my time. I'm not doing it. It's not on my schedule, right? So let your calendar reflect your values. Number three, systems over hustle. You don't want to sustainability is rooted in the systems, routines, budgets, and boundaries, not in overexertion. I have to make myself every day adhere to the plan. I gotta by mid-morning, I have gotten up, washed my face, done all the things that I need to do, beautified, system care, all the self-care things. And I have thought about what I'm going to have for lunch. Maybe today I boiled some eggs. Why? Because baby, we're going to eat them eggs. I don't eat eggs every day, but I don't want my eggs to go bad. Which reminds me, I have to tell y'all about something at the end of this video. I'm doing a contest for my egg giveaways and my egg sales, right? Because baby, I can't eat all these eggs, so we're gonna market them. All right. So systems over hustle. So routines, budgets, boundaries, and not in overexertion. So you want to make sure that you have systems in place to help you manage yourself. Okay? I told myself yesterday, baby, I only got cut these roses. Now, how can these petals fit into my entrepreneurial market? Then how can I 360 degrees, these rosebud headings, right? Because everything when I walk into the garden is a process. So because of the big end goal, that um, I have to monitor my observations in the garden. So a lot of what I do is based on my observations and my lessons in the garden, because that's a part of the big end goal, right? All right. So now that we've covered the structured planning for success, your 90-day life builder framework, which includes your clarity, capacity, and consistency, reframe the role of work. Work should support your calling, not sabotage your health. Let your calendar reflect your values, and systems over hustle. Sustainability is rooted in systems. Okay. We should not be overworked. All right. Finally, you don't need another certification or title to begin building the life that you want. You just simply need the structure. You need truth. You need to believe that what you've lived through has equipped you, and it has. Which is why we go through these experiences, which is why God says testify, which is why he says in his word that we overcome by our testimonies. But he will give you a strategy about which part of it he wants you to share, right? Because some people over deliver, but baby, I deliver because I be set free, right? Because it's, to me, it's about being set free. So, but that's not everybody's story. You let God guide you on that, right? So, what we have for you today, first of all, we want to say thank you all for joining us. So, we have got something available for you today, the Resilience Blueprint Starter Kit today. For those who DM resilience, I will send that to you. You have to put in the comments resilience, and I will forward that kit to you today. Let's start organizing your knowledge, reclaiming your peace, and designing a life that honors both your purpose and your well-being. As always, stay elevated, stay intentional, and stay ready. If you would like this full package, and just again, drop below the word resilience and we will send that out to you in the comment section. Drop the word resilience and we're going to get that right out to you. Okay, so yes, it's exciting. It's been another amazing TOLTM conversation. I hope to get you on to share with me one day. Tell me about what's going on and how our work is supporting you in this time. For those of you who have joined us, thank you. To my replay viewers, if you made it all the way here, check in with us. You are always more than welcome to grab your assessment today by visiting me at www.dreveangelsavage.com and grab your assessment today. Your assessment will also can go towards your 90-day action plan. So I'm gonna hop on over here to YouTube to see if there are any questions, any visitors for today. And if you are a visitor coming and chiming in for the first time, please don't forget, if you would like the blueprint, just make sure you comment resilience in the chat or in the comment section of this video. I am Dr. Eve, and it's always an absolute pleasure to be with you in community and to share these nuggets on how to build out a sustainable life. God wants us to have a life of ease. My word this year was sustainable, and I'm holding to it. If it don't fit, if it's a circle and it don't fit in the square, it don't fit. A circle don't fit in the or the square don't fit in the circle, because some circles do fit in the square, but that square is not fitting in that circle unless that circle is really big. And sometimes that's just it. It's too big. So we may need to narrow the scope a little, define your niche, figure out what that thing is, that your unique value proposition, define out what that is, where you are in this season, and how you can share that with the people in this time. I'm Dr. Eve, everyone. And until next time, you have the most amazing day. And whatever you do, don't let anyone get in the way. on your journey to becoming who God has called you to become.